What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Solo Leveling Arise video. Alright guys, we are gonna discuss something that I think is of value to Netmarble, the developer, as well as us as players, and I want to get your feedback in the comment section. But before I do that, remember, we have a live podcast dropping tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna do the first ever Zaf x Payne collaboration for the Solo Leveling podcast, and I promise you, with our two personalities, it's going to be crazy. So make sure you join. This is going to be something we're going to be doing very often, where we're going to include a lot of different guests, different content creators, talking everything about Solo Leveling Arise, plus Solo Leveling the manga, plus other things out there that matter in the gaming world. So check us out, guys. We're going to be doing it live, so your feedback, your interaction, your comments, your questions are all going to impact what we discuss and how everything's going to go. It's always unscripted and it's always raw. You know how it is with your boy, and Zaf plays the exact same game I do and does the exact same kind of style of content creating as I do. So this is going to be an awesome time. Now, the purpose of the video, this video specifically, I want to talk about this because Netmarble made a fantastic point couple patches ago and said in one of their notes that they are looking into changing the way certain stats work, especially based on how the manhwa or the anime functions, specifically for Jinnu. Okay, and I want to kind of give my feedback on a stat that has been neglected from day one and should have been one of the best stats in the game for him. And we all know how this works, right? The moment Jinnu becomes a necromancer or gets the title job change where he can control shadows, intelligence or intellect becomes his number one go-to stat when strength no longer and agility no longer really matter at that point. And it's crazy that we really don't see much here in this at all, and there's zero reason for it. So I'm going to talk about my changes I think the Netmarble should make and how it should impact the game, and I hope you guys agree. And if you do, please put it in the comment section, because remember, they do watch these videos and it does matter for them quite a bit on our voice and our feedback. So when they are going to be making these adjustments, hopefully some of these considerations are taken into account. First off, this additional MP and cooldown reduction I'm okay with. You know what there should be as well too? Impact to certain skills and shadow army. So I'm going to talk a lot about that there. This here I think is not enough to make a matter of any difference in this game. So because we have things already to do that. We have gems, we have skills that do cooldown reduction. We have gems that do MP reduction or MP increase as well too. Just there's too much going on for those two things to even matter, especially with how strong strength scales. So I'm okay with keeping strength as strong it is, but with intellect, let's go into the first thing I think it should matter. Now, this is my free-to-play account. Obviously, I don't have everything unlocked, but I think the first thing that it should affect is the shadow army. And I think everyone can agree here, because in the manhwa and in the anime, that's exactly where the first effect happens. Is two things. Number one, the length of time these guys are out. I think that should be the first thing that happens, okay? So this army total power here, if you have intellect, it should first off scale higher, and the actual shades you use should be lower. So let's just say without any intellect, it uses 1,000 shades to summon. Well, this should be down to, like, let's say 500 if you have X amount of intellect. So less shades used. The army total power should increase based on the amount of intellect, because you can summon more shadows, and also the shadow length time should be increased based on how much intellect. So let's just say the reason why this matters so much is if you have the following, let me show you guys the following blessing, right over here, this one, Mana Rampage. So this here, for example, should also be something that you scale off of attack. Now, you guys also know that in the Codex, you can actually build a shadow army spec where, right here, let me show you guys, where's the codex? Right here, if I go to blessing stones, there's a blessing stone here called Monarch's Domain. So this, for example, should also be scaling off of intellect. Let's just say you can build a shadow army intellect build and make it actually work. So when you summon a shadow, Monarch's domain activates. Shadows attack within the domain increase by 100%. The shadow also deals more damage equal to 100% of your value in intelligence every second, would be really good. And then that would increase the duration of things like this. So intellect should affect the longevity and the length and the skill of your shadow army. Also should also affect the amount of shadows you summon, and for the length of time and how much power they have. Everything should scale off of intellect. So I think shadow army should be the first one. The second one should be some of these blessing stones. So that was a prime example of one here, where the Monarch's Domain shouldn't scale off of attack, it should scale off of intellect. Now it makes it more complicated, of course, because now you have to understand how to redistribute your stats, but I think that makes the game a lot more fun to play, and you have different ways to build it now. So I think something like Monarch's Domain is huge. Mana Rampage should be another one where you actually increase your intelligence instead of attack, but your skill consumption goes down. So I think that's a big one as well that could be affected. Reawakening should also be based off of your intellect. So yeah, it does 20-second cooldown here, but even further, that should be the base if you have more intellect. So going up to, let's say, max 30%, for example, right? That would be crazy there. Let's see what else. What else can we say that could be affected? Oh, weakness detection here could also be affected. So you increase your elemental weakness damage because you're smarter, you understand elements more, etc. Like that would be an amazing one there too, right? So there's other ones that should obviously scale off attack, but there's certain ones that could easily scale off of intellect, and you could affect the blessing stones. Weapons is another big one. There should be a lot of weapons that scale off of intellect. For example, Orb of Avarice should 110% be scaling off of intellect. So the damage should come from intellect, not attack. Again, I understand this is going to complicate a lot of these things, but it'll make the game a lot more fun, and it'll give weapons more time to shine and more reason to shine. Another one would be the Grimoire, right? So that'd be another big one that would work really well. Another really good one here would be the Grimoire, the Ice Grimoire, the SSR version one, right? That would also work really, really well with that as well too. So I think books like that, I think anything that's an orb, anything that is magic based should be used off of intellect, and I think that's going to make a bigger difference in the long run with how people structure their game. Plus, I think agility should affect things like daggers and guns. Very typical in most gacha games that they do that. Daggers and guns are usually affected by agility, and I think that's that. We'll talk more about that in a whole different video. But I think strength should focus on heavy duty weapons like snipers. Like sniper, obviously not like a regular gun, but I'm talking about like regular guns like this, or the dark sword, or like the Kasaka daggers, the dark gun here. Those are the Baruka daggers. All of those should be agility based, while things like the demon longsword should probably be based off of strength. Right, broadsword here based off of strength, scythe based off of strength. That one could go either way. Same with katana, it can go either way, scythe or agility or strength. But again, intellect should be affecting these weapons here. Also, I think having intellect be a main stat should also affect another thing, and that is how some of these skills work, right? So for example, Commander's Touch Black Hole, for example, more intellect equals wider range of black hole, so bigger range plus an extra added effect. Let's say you do a dot over time, like a burn or something like that on top of what you already do here. So this would be really cool to see some of these bigger ones shine a little bit more because of intellect, right? I think people would use them more often, and I think, like, for example, Mutilate would be cool through agility, but Commander's Touch would be through intellect. So I think intellect should also affect some of Jinu's skills and the way they function. And not only that, but intellect should also matter for hunters. We have a lot of good hunters here, like Min, who currently scale off of HP, which is great, but intellect should add a separate factor here, like increasing his buffs or increasing the amount his buffs provide, right? Or someone like Park Hee-jin, who's scale off attack, which makes no sense to me. She should actually scale off of intelligence as well too. Units like Jo-hee should also scale off of intelligence and HP as well too, right? So it'd be cool to have it more of a classification or a main stat where a lot of different hunters can base it off of that, and that would increase either their buffs, their debuffs, or the amount of magic power they give back, or the amount of damage they do. So these are all very important things, I think, that the devs should definitely consider adding to their game. I think it will bring a lot of value. So I think intelligence overall, guys, should be the first revamp of any stat. So if you do agree with these comments, let me know in the comment section, let them know in the comment section, and add your own part of what you think is best for intelligence in your comment, and hopefully they'll see it. And hey, you never know, they may implement it in an upcoming future patch that you may be like, hey, you know what, I contributed to this. And even if you don't, there probably will be a survey of some sort with our opinions that may assist them in changing intellect and intelligence into the proper way it should function. All right, guys, this is Payne. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.